Are you ready? Let's go.
Welcome, everyone. You are now tuned into another amazing edition of Sanya on Air. I am your host, Sanya Hudson-Payne, and how do I start off each and every single show? You guessed it. I have another great show for you. Coming up in just a few short moments, I have world-renowned writer, director, and producer, Aaron Avant Johnson. When I tell you that he is such a dope content creator and he's still in his early 20s, telling you that you don't have to be in your 40s, 50s, and 60s to be successful in this entertainment industry. He got started at a very young age. So we're going to unpack all of his milestones and pivotal moments, talk about how he got into the industry, how he pitches to major networks and film executives. So make sure that you stay tuned in. But before we bring in today's guest, I need you to do a few housekeeping things for me. Make sure that you subscribe to Sanya on Air, which is streaming across every major platform. And also, if you want to advertise on Sanya on Air, I have amazing digital billboards available across the United States in 41 cities and states. So make sure you send an email to sanya@sanyaonair.net. So let's get right into it with Aaron Avant Johnson. Hi, Aaron.
Oh, there you go. Hello, how are you doing?
I was like, that's next. I have to tell him to unmute his button. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good. Wait a minute. I hear a little Southern twang going on. What's that about?
Well, I'm from Miami, but I have my family from the South, so probably, yeah.
My family's from Florida too, Pensacola.
Okay. Awesome.
On that Florida twang any day.
Yes, ma'am.
But I did some research on you, and I was like, I don't think he's that young. You are young.
Yes, ma'am. Just turned 20 like a couple of months ago. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, 20 years old.
Mm-hmm. I know, I'm a baby.
Already made a name for yourself. I mean, when I read your title, it said world-renowned writer, director, and producer. And I said, well, dang it, he's still a baby. Let's figure out, how did he get the title of being world-renowned? So let's unpack some of this.
Okay.
10 years plus experience in this whole industry. How did you get started?
I was 9 years old. It really started with as far as editing. So my mom, she was trying to figure out something on her laptop one night and she couldn't figure it out. And I was like, well, let me see what I can do. And she was trying to make, a simple photo slideshow collage. And I stayed up that whole night just fascinated with it. And I was just like, oh, I don't know what this is, but I know I want to do it. So that grew into me just teaching myself how to edit. It started off with really editing first. And then I formed a production company. Well, more so then it was a videography company. So I was the one going to, music videos, events, funerals, weddings, anything that you could record. I was there recording and editing. And so that became a business very, very quickly for me. And then that grew into writing and producing and, things down the line. So, yeah.
Wow. This is the reason why I love to speak with successful people such as yourself. Even though you're 20 years old, you have definitely made an impact. Because people who aspire to be where you are and do what you do, they want to know how you got there. And I always say the common denominator is, I just found out what my purpose and passion was and what I love to do.
Absolutely.
And I just did it and I explored it. So I'm glad that you commented on that you just took something that was sort of like a hobby and you just expanded on it. So that's
absolutely
cool. At 9 years old?
9. Yeah.
So wait a minute, computer equipment is not cheap. My daughter is 26 years old and she just asked me for another laptop the other day. And I'm just like, honey, laptops ain't cheap.
No, they are not.
But going back to the family structure, coming from Black households, oftentimes they don't see a career outside of something that's intellectual as a career. How did your parents respond to you wanting to go into videography and editing?
Well, honestly, I can say that I've been blessed by God to have the parents that I do because they are very, very supportive. Going into it, they didn't understand it, but it wasn't like, it wasn't like, no, you're not going to do that. You're going to do this. Like, you're going to play football or you're going to do whatever. They was just like, whatever you want to do, that you can see yourself doing that makes you happy. Go ahead and do it. And as I was growing, they was growing along with me. So we really built, and it's not just my production company. It's like a family ran production company because my parents, they're executive producers on my projects, and my mom, she's like my creative partner. My dad, he's script supervisor. Especially this last project, Predestined, that we just got done working on. My brother, I worked hand in hand with him with the music, as far as him creating the whole sound for the show and everything. So it's really like a family bond. But yeah, no, they was definitely very supportive.
I love that because, there are so many stereotypes out there that the family structure, the Black family structure,
Absolutely.
open and can't be fixed, and people don't do things as a family unit. So you are just a living testimony of Black pride, Black family, Black excellence. So I love it. So did you ever tell your Mom, thank you for not knowing how to edit that video because gave me my start? Did you ever tell your mother thank you?
I'm sure I did, maybe somewhere down the line. I may be 20, but my mind's like 90. So, I'm pretty sure I did. I just probably don't remember it, but I'm pretty sure I did, yeah.
Well, if you don't do anything today from one mom, I'm sure that your mother would appreciate that. So make sure you tell her thank you today.
I definitely will. Yes, ma'am.
So also in researching you, it was like he has a keen sense for details. And I was like, I've seen 50 million resumes and bios that says a person has a keen sense of detail. So I just want you to unpack that as it relates to the world of being a writer, director, and a producer. What does a keen sense of detail mean?
Well, with the keen sense of detail, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know that was in there. But and look, I'm showing you, I'm gonna read my own stuff. But no, with a keen sense of detail, I think that's more so with me. It's just the way I view things and the way I view stories in life, because I do believe that we all have our own individual perspectives on life, and everybody see life differently, and little details in our lives are. It's honestly very, very important, not just the big moments, but also the small moments as well. And I just say I really gravitate towards that, and just the way that I tell my stories. They're very detailed. I will say that. So yeah.
So give me an example of a project that you worked on that you had to really focus on the keen details. Describe that moment.
Oh, it's been a lot of projects. Okay. Let's take Predestined for an example, which is the new project that's out now. So with Predestined, and yes, we shot this during the middle of COVID, so we was the crazy like that. With Predestined, we really had to pay attention with how the story was being portrayed, because the story about a preacher's kid turned to R&B star, and her mom dies and wills her the church. And on top of that, we made that a musical, so we had to be very cautious with how we present the story and how we unpack the story, but also just even on the musical aspect, we had to be very detailed with how we wanted the sound of the show to come across, because we hear traditional gospel all the time, the Hawkins, and y'all know way back then. So we wanted to even be very intentional with how we create the sound for the show. So me and my brother, we sat down and we was like, okay, we want the show to be something fresh, something new, especially the sound of contemporary gospel, meaning it's not your traditional gospel music. You may turn this on and you may hear the beat, you may be like, wait a minute, like I don't know whether to twerk or pray. So we wanted to, even like just the smallest things like that, even down to just the way she looks and her hair and her mannerism, like all of that stuff plays a key part, and not just lines that they're saying on the page. So
I'm glad that you mentioned that, especially. We're going to unpack your new film, Predestined, shortly. But as you mentioned, the film explores the genre of R&B and
right.
You
yeah.
talk about the genre of gospel and not come correct, because you will have every church heathen. Yeah, they church.
Yes, ma'am.
They're waving heathens in church.
Yes, ma'am.
About the the club on Sunday, go directly to church on Sunday, and then want to judge you on social media on Monday.
That's true. That's true.
From a very church background. My parents, deacon and deaconesses, my grandfathers are pastors, so I know.
Right.
I'm glad that you handled that delicately. So just to share a personal story about me, like how do you pay attention to the minute details? Like before I brought you on camera, I was like, if this bun don't hold up and it's shifted to the side, I don't want to look like a cone head.
Oh, Lord.
Pay attention to the details, right?
It's important. It's important. Honestly, too, I think with our society now and just the way the world is, everything is so fast and it's so instant and everybody's always on the go or always on the move. And even though COVID was definitely a sad time for this whole entire world, not just this country, but an entire world, what it has taught, I can say for myself, it has taught to really slow down and pay attention to the details, pay attention more, and not just with projects or films, but all aspects of my life, and just even really just taking a beat, like just take it one day at a time, one step at a time. And journey I don't talk about much, but like even at the start of COVID, I was a lot heavier than what I am now. I used to be like over like 300 pounds at the top of last year. So even going through COVID. And I was like, okay, I have to take it one day at a time, because that was like a whole journey within itself of getting, mentally prepared, physically prepared, and mentally ready, physically ready, just all in total. I even had to take that, pay attention to the details as far as what I'm eating, what I'm putting in my body, what exactly is what's in my food, like everything like that. So if there's one thing I can say, COVID has definitely taught me is to pay attention to the details.
Yes. Amen. And I no longer call it the pandemic. I call it the Plandemic. Because
I like that,
use this time as an opportunity to really plan your next steps. You're going to start reeling. I'm so but I just want to and I didn't plan this, but you talked about, your body, your weight loss a little bit. And we went into this whole digital space where everybody's getting work done to their bodies, even guys. So tell me about what you did to lose all that weight.
Keto, believe it or not. For me, here's the thing for me, right? I have had an up and down battle with it's never been down. I have had an up battle with my weight for as long as I can remember. Ever since I was a child, I've always battled with, obesity. It's just something about my parents' genes together. We just come out fluffy. So I was just like, it really had got to the point last year where I was just like, especially around Christmas time, I was like, okay. I done tried every diet you can think up under the sun. I've been pescatarian, I tried vegan, I tried being vegetarian, I tried it all. So I was just like, okay, now I followed this keto. I found this keto plan. I said, okay, I think this can work for me. Because first, I love to eat meat. I love vegetables, believe it or not. I love vegetables. So I was just like, what? I can make this work. And I just started taking it one day at a time. For the first 2 months, I was like, this ain't working. I ain't seeing no progress or nothing. And then along with the eating regimen, I included like intermittent fasting. So I started fasting to like 2 p.m. And then eventually that turned into 6 p.m. So that was extreme fasting, because I would only eat from like 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. in that nighttime, and I'll go like that whole morning and that whole top day not eating. I have to get back to that place. My body is it ain't as equipped as it used to be a couple of months ago to do that. But no, yeah, I started doing that, and honestly, I will say that food plays a big part in the way that we think, the way that we feel, because even over time, I know we hear people say it all the time, but you feel better, you got more clarity. But for me, it was really, really big, because I was never a morning person. Even now, I'm still not a morning person, but I was able to get up in the morning and actually be happy about the day, and not just like, oh my gosh, very sluggish, and you just start to feel better. So that was pretty much that journey. Yeah.
Cool. I didn't ask you that question for my viewers and listeners. Like, I asked you that question for myself.
Listen, you can do it. You can. It's not hard. It's not. And I think too,
I've lost some, but I'm telling you, the carbs are telling me no. My body's telling me yes.
Come Come on, you better sing. You better sing. Come on now. But you can do it though. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. It's not as hard as you think, I promise.
Okay, I'll try. I've been juicing I'm on like my 9th day. So that's a great start.
Okay.
So, okay, so we'll stop with my personal battles. Let's get back to you.
Okay.
Let's get back to you.
Okay.
Genre inspires you because there's so many appealing genres. Like I know sometimes my friends will say, okay, Sanya, let's have a movie night. What type of movie do you want to watch? And I'm like, I don't know, comedy, horror, romance. I don't know. So what's your favorite genre?
Here's the thing with me. I appreciate all genres of like film and television. And it's hard for me to pick just one because I pretty much watch them all, like drama, comedy, especially drama. But you know what? I'll put it like this. I like supernatural dramas and let's say dramedies. So I like drama comedies. You know, I like to get a sense of drama and then still be able to laugh at the same time. So I'll put it like that. Yeah.
True. I love it. So what writer, director, or producer inspires you?
A lot. Of course, you know, you got the Tyler Perry's, the Spike Lee, you know, of course you got, you know, our top filmmakers. But then, you know, you also have other ones like, you know, James Wan, who did the Insidious series, who's really, really good. And you got a lot of different other filmmakers. For me, I'm a different type of creator. I say I'm the only probably filmmaker in the world that does not watch a lot of movies. So I know it's super crazy. I don't watch a lot of movies. I will say I watch more TV than I do movies. I'm the type, I'm like a binge watcher of a television show. Like you put on the Netflix show, let me sit down, get my popcorn. I just want to watch it all the way through. But no, it's definitely a lot of well-respected creators in this game, especially now Regina King, who's doing great things as far as directing, and you know, she's still acting, but now she's getting on the other side of it. And so, you know, it's a lot of different creators that I have a great deal of respect for.
And I love that answer because as a Black content creator, you know, society only thinks that we are pulling from Black content. So I knew the answer to that question before you said it because I did my research. Right. And it said what happened was Tyler Perry and James Wan are inspiration. I was like, okay, a Black male and also an Asian male. I was so impressed to see that you had diversity and you just weren't just saying, okay, I'm a Black male, let me just draw from Black inspiration.
Absolutely.
Now let's just go to the Tyler Perry piece because, you know, Tyler Perry for so long has been under public scrutiny. Now they're kind of give him more mercy and grace because they were saying that at the beginning of his career, most of his male characters were in dresses. How do you feel about Black men who secure roles in women in dresses? How do you feel about that?
Here's how I feel about it. I'll say this. Me personally, I feel as if, and it could just be because I'm a creator. I don't mind it. I just feel as if you're going to do it right, do it correctly. For an example, we have people like Martin Lawrence, who was doing that back in the 90s with Janae and all of the other ones. And to us, it was pure comedy because it was coming from that comedic standpoint. But I do feel as if things now has shifted in the world and just like, you know, everyone's view of certain things. And I feel as if that can definitely put a weird stamp on that particular thing. So here's what I say. I say if you do it with the integrity of that particular character, you know. So for an example, we know Medea is a staple, and especially in Black culture, you know, and sometimes we even think Medea a real person. Sometimes we be like, that's not even Tyler at this point.
Medea isn't real?
Now you want to know something? When I was younger and when we used to watch the Medea movies, I always thought Medea was like Tyler Perry's mom. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. When I was younger, I always used to say, they look a lot alike. My parents just laugh like in the same person. But no, I mean, I see both sides. I can definitely see why people have a problem with it, and then I can definitely see, why people just say it's part of the arts. So I say if you do it, just do it correctly and just go all the way. So
I love it. But there are people who probably did it wrong, but there is a social responsibility that you do have to have as a content
absolutely,
creator. And even you, as when you were younger, saying, I thought that, that was a whole other person besides.
absolutely.
So do you know, or would you suggest of any content creators that created a character for a Black man wearing a skirt that did it completely wrong?
Yes, but I'm not gonna say anything. I ain't trying to get smacked by people. I will. I will say I've seen it done wrong. I've seen it done wrong. And not even just that. I've seen other characters. Whether it's culture appropriation. I've seen that done wrong too. So I'm just like, here's my thing. I'm like, if you're gonna do it correctly. That's the biggest thing I'm at. For an example, you see somebody like Martin Lawrence who did it correctly, and that's why as a viewer, whether you're male or female, you can sit back and you can laugh at it because it was comedically done correctly. It was properly done. And then you have somebody like Tyler Perry who built a multi-billion-dollar business off of that one character, which is crazy. He's done that correctly. And then you got some other ones who did it and it just ain't all the way. But I ain't gonna get in trouble by saying names. But,
So this kind of approaches the topic of diversity and inclusion. In Hollywood, and diversity and inclusion, for me, it just seems as if it's become this sort of buzzing trend word. But you're on the inside. Do you really feel as if Hollywood is intentional on creating more diversity and inclusion in the roles?
I'll say, in my opinion, Hollywood still has a lot of growing to do, but I'll say they're paying more attention. I would say the ones that is bringing the diversity, they are key pillars and they are important because they are opening up the doors for Asians, for more African American creators, for more Latino creators, like just people of minorities. And I would say I do applaud them because we have had progress, but I do feel as if like it shouldn't have taken this long to get to this place now. And even now, when it comes down to new creators or creators who may not be your Tyler Perry's or your Lee Daniels or your Spike Lee's, it is still hard. Like that's a whole nother battle within itself, within its own that I can get into. So I'll say Hollywood still has a lot of growing to do, but as long as we continue to include diversity and include these things, I think we'll be fine.
So who do you think the diversity and inclusion solely lies upon? Do you think it's the responsibility of white content creators, or it is also the responsibility of Black content creators for diversity and inclusion in their content?
I think it's the responsibility that falls on everybody because that's honestly what it is. It falls on everybody because it can't just be one set group that's just like diversity when you have another set group who may already have the platform, already have the status, who can open up those doors for minorities or creators, whether they're actors, writers, directors, whoever. And if they're not willing to open up their doors, you already know what we do. We make our own, but then at the same time as we make our own, we already know, even from the foundation of this country, this wasn't really built in our favor. So even then it's still a little harder because you may not get the big backing of the studios, or you may not get the big backing of these higher up networks than your white counterparts, that's part of the whole thing. I say we still got some ways to go.
Yeah.
But I would say the responsibility definitely lies on everybody.
So 20 years old, you have your parents and I believe you said your brother heavily involved in your whole content creation empire. So who besides them backs you? Because it is very, very difficult. Like, I don't want people, looking at this video or listening to it saying, you know what, I'm gonna go on my iPhone and I'm gonna go shoot this damn movie. and it's going to be on all the screens. So talk about how do you get from thinking about it to actually filming it to actually producing it and making it available to the people. Who backs you in order to make that happen?
Well, here's what I'll say. The crazy thing though is that it actually is that easy now, believe it or not. People can literally go in on their cell phones, and this is why I applaud technology. You can go on your cell phone, you can literally download like an iMovie or a little movie editing app on your phone, and you can literally go make a full-fledged movie now. Like there's even been films that was solely shot on an iPhone that has gone to Sundance and these big old festivals, and even has gotten distribution. But what I will say is that this business is not for the it ain't for everybody. Because let me just say, it's a lot of no's. It's a lot of no's in this industry. A lot of things that people don't see, and it's a lot of wear and tear on the mind. That's another thing, because constant rejection or constant no's or constant you're not good enough or constant we go in another direction. Hearing that a lot can really make you doubt yourself. So you have to know who you are. You have to know your worth. You have to know your ability, what you stand on, and you just got to push through. It's not an easy industry to break through now. But what I will say is that social media has definitely had a leg up on all of that, because believe it or not, you have people now, even projects, who they're not even looking at your resume now. They're looking at your social media following. So they're looking at how many followers you got, because now this is on business. So I'm looking at how many people you can pull to buy this film or to go see this movie or, whatever. As long as we get the numbers financially, then, your acting can be, subpar. And, people really wouldn't care. That's like the industry that we are in now. So it's a whole nother ball game. But as far as my journey, it's been a journey. I've had the pleasure of collaborating with some really, really big people. Also, I'm in the works of doing some network stuff now. But as far as my personal thing, it's really just really our production company. It's really our production company. We've been running it for over 12 plus years now. So I know the feature that we did, Lost, that's available everywhere. You can get it on Walmart, Target. It's on Amazon Prime and some other places. It's been a minute since I promoted that film. So
About that, how did you get it onto those major streaming platforms? How did you get your project in front of networks? And by the way, don't forget, you just heard me sing a few minutes ago. So if you look at the my mind is telling me no.
So with Lost, we had shot Lost. Lost was my first feature. I did that. When did we do Lost? I think I was 16 when we did Lost, and we went over to I want to get the festival name correct. It's the London International Filmmaker Festival over in London, England, and we flew over there, and because we was nominated for 4 awards for the film, so we brought back 2 awards. Myself and another fantastic actress in that film, Latoya Ward. She brought back an award, and we strike the distribution deal right there while we was in London. They came and they saw the film, and it was like, we would like to, distribute. So we went through that whole process with them on distributing that film. And yeah, that's how that particular started. It's been some years. So you see me think I told you my mind 90. So I got to remember.
Way for people to understand is, having more people view your project by entering your project or your content into these film festivals.
Absolutely. I don't knock film festivals at all, because film festivals are a great networking establishment. You have a lot of different producers, showrunners, directors who attend these festivals. So for me, I'll say, if you got a project, enlist it in as many as you can. I know a lot of people, we try to hit for the big ones, Sundance and Cannes and Tribeca and these big ones, which it's definitely okay, but they are quite harder to get into. So I'll say, get your small ones, your middle ground ones, hit the big guys, and just get it all, because you never know who will see your project and who will want to do something with it.
So entering into these film festivals, and then you also said the way that people are pitching projects has changed, and now you have people seated at the table looking at social media content.
Absolutely.
So that's a very new age creative way for content creators to definitely get noticed. Like social media has become like the Bible for so many things. I don't like it, but it is
I
what it
know. I know. I'm one for me. I'm one. If I didn't have to use it, I really wouldn't. There's even times where my mom has to get on me. She's like, "You have not posted in a long," because I'm not a social media type of person. I'm really not. But I know I have to use it for business, of
I
course.
know. I
So
haven't
like,
posted, I think, since Thursday or Friday. And I'm already like, oh my gosh, I haven't posted. What's going to happen?
see,
Like,
it's pressure. It's pressure. I'm like, social media put so much of unnecessary pressure on you.
yeah,
I'm
and
like,
it's not like I don't really want to be on social media, but sometimes I just got to take a break, from all of
need
the extra, stimuli. It's just too much. And I'm just working on getting back into a better place, just to share something personal. We were talking about the Plandemic. Like I recently lost my mother a few months ago.
Oh no.
Sometimes I just got to pull back from things and, I don't explain it to other people because,
Right.
healing is very, very important.
Yeah.
Which, back to you during this pandemic, when I went through your social media feed, and I was like, oh, wow, he's really creating content. He's working on his next project during this pandemic. I saw you with your mask on. So moving forward, has this pandemic really changed the way that you will be creating content moving forward?
I'll say temporarily yes. Because I do know that this COVID thing is not going to last forever. And I will say
Allegedly.
that's
There's a new deviant strain.
that's true. That is very much true. So I take that back. That's very much true because you just reminded me of that. What I will say is that everything pretty much has changed a lot now. Even from us being on set, the way we have to conduct our sets was a lot of testing, a lot of temperatures, a lot of safety precautions. Even when it came down to craft services, that was very, very different because you can't have open food, and so it was a lot of different things. Even on like the pitching side of things, everything is virtual now. So if you want to pitch a show with an executive, everybody's at home, and you're pitching over Zoom just like this. And it's different. I do see things changing in a sense of like more people becoming comfortable to come back to work on a set, as we seeing now with Tyler Perry's opening of his studio that happened a couple of months ago. He's still kicking out shows, and we got now Hollywood, they're opening back up their studios for their shows. So I see things changing. I think it's going to be different, but I think it definitely will be an adjustment for everyone, and an adjustment we can get through for sure.
Got it. So let's talk about your latest project, Predestined. I'm excited because, like I said, I come from a church background, but I'm R&B all day. My parents hate it.
Ain't nothing wrong with being R&B. Ain't nothing wrong. Ain't nothing wrong. Ain't nothing wrong. Look, we all love a little Mary J. Blige. We ain't nothing wrong with it.
Yes, I tell before my mom transitioned, she would always tell me, to stop drinking wine. I'm like, now we know, what Jesus did for the wine.
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord.
I don't know. But like I said, I'm excited about it. So you told us that it connects, a person who was a gospel singer now turned R&B.
So she is a preacher's kid, turned R&B singer, and her mom passes away and leaves her the church. So let's just say things get very, very sticky, especially because she didn't want the church, and she left the church because of a lot of hurt and a lot of pain and a lot of things that she dealt with as a preacher's kid. And that was something too that I really wanted to show like to with this show is the story of a preacher's kid, because it's not really told in anything. You hear what you hear, about a preacher's kid, like, oh, they're the words and everything, but you never really hear, like, the backstory. And for me, I'm a preacher's kid myself. I come from a line of preachers. My parents are pastors. My grandmother is an apostle, and I come from a line of different ministers. And let's just say I grew up in church my whole life. So, I definitely know the shoes, and I wanted to bring light to that, but in a different way, and that's why we turned it into a musical, and it became really, really dope. Honestly, it's a real feel good show. It's something that you can binge watch. You can sit there and watch it from episode one to the end of the first season, and it's just honestly a really, really feel good show. And we put it on our own app, so you can go get it from the App Store, or you can get it from your Google Play Store. You just go to your App Store wherever you download your apps, type in Predestin. It is a fully stocked app, with the season of the show, and then also I wanted to include a lot of behind the scenes, because we documented what it was like creating the show during COVID, because we've never, I mean, in our generations, we've never been through anything like this, especially creating a movie in a whole pandemic, and we was crazy, because we produced the show during the height of our numbers here in Miami. So that was like between the months of August and October. So numbers were like very high here. And that's what I say, it was nothing but the grace of God that kept all of us, like, because nobody contracted COVID at all. And I mean, we was working with a lot of people. We tried to keep it as minimum as possible. And of course, we did testing and temperatures and, all the safety precautions. But, still, you just never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all of that is on the app. Fun fact, my mom had a gospel group back in the 90s called Predestin, and that's where I got the name from.
Wow.
Yeah, that's where I got the name from.
Your mother, you better stop playing.
So that's where I got the name from. And I've always told them, because I grew up on their music, hearing their music. So I always told my mom, I was like, y'all music was ahead of y'all time. Like, they stopped doing the group many moons ago, many years ago. But I said, I think y'all should like come back and do something for the show. So they came back and they sung the theme song as the group again. And then I was like, okay, y'all, like, that ain't enough. I need y'all to perform. So that's when my mom was a little bit like, listen, I'm 40 something. You talk about performing in heels over takes and takes. I don't know about that. And they had a fast paced song. So they was just like, mm-mm. But I had to convince them. I was like, I think this would be good for the show. So they have a really big performance in the show, which everybody will see towards the season finale. So it was really, really dope to be able to do that. So
let me tell you something. I'm inspired, and I'll tell you why. Because this is how I know that it has a purposeful message. Because you as a writer, you took content, from something and someone that was very, very familiar to you. So
right.
It seems organic, it seems authentic, it seems personal. So that's why I know that it's going to translate well on screen. So, I'm just going to encourage everyone to go watch it. And plus, you have it streaming on your own app.
Yeah.
Just talk about creating your own generational wealth and not giving other big institutions and, other film companies your money, keeping it all for yourself. And this is what we need to understand in the Black community. Stop looking everywhere else. You can do it on your own. So you definitely testimony of that. Amazing.
Absolutely. I recently just heard Stephanie Mills on the Breakfast Club, and she was talking about giving away your wealth. She said how us as African Americans, we're very quick to give away our wealth just for the money or for the cat. Like, we're quick to just throw it in here. Here you go. And that's something that I've learned. That's something I really learned over these last two years. Is ownership is key. You have to own what you do. I mean, a lot of times we be quick to throw it away because we just be looking for the financial payday. But you have to look at it in a sense of wealth, generational. And a lot of times with generational wealth, it may not hit right now, but as long as you have it, you never know what you can do with it. So that was something very, very big. And believe it or not, this didn't start off as an app either. We was going to put this on a different platform, but we ran into issues with that particular platform. So we was just like, well, where we gonna put it? Because I ain't want to put it to YouTube. So I was like, well, where we gonna put this thing at? Because this is really like a passion project here.
Mhm.
So I was just like, you know what? We need to create our own app, and they can download it. And we're gonna document. I mean, we had all this footage already of documented everything through COVID, and even the making of bringing my mom's group back together for this project, and my brother working with the singers and the studio time, like all of that. Like that's literally like a 12 or 13 part mini series on there all by itself. So we was just like, we got all this content. Let's just do our own app. Everybody, it's very, very simple. You can just go to the app store, you can download it. That's it. It's very, very simple. It's a simple procedure. You don't got to go searching for it. You don't got to go to another platform to search for it. Just go to your app store, download it. It's a fully stocked app. And yeah, I'm glad we did it that way. I'm glad we did it that way. It definitely worked out, and it's a blessing. So
That's amazing. That's amazing. As you were talking and you mentioned, I always say, like, I'm so distracted all the time. Like, I've been looking at, I love Adidas. I've been looking at your hat. We were talking about Mills' interview on the Breakfast Club. I was like, oh my gosh, I saw that interview last week. So from Friday up until today, which is Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday. Because of that interview, I've been listening to a Stephanie Mills song all day.
wow.
Just because of that interview. So it just goes to, you can hear one conversation and get totally different meanings. So you got the generational wealth from that conversation. I got the music, and the only thing I've been singing all week, I'm auditioning again, just so you know. What you wanna do with my loving?
Come on.
I'm crazy about your smile.
Come on now. Come on, I heard that. Come on now.
So I repeat, right. I'm looking for another leading lady.
Right.
Girl. Shameless plug.
Oh Lord.
But we do have to wrap up this conversation. You told us so many amazing gems. But one final thing I want to discuss is where you currently reside in Miami. We know about, the world of influence in Hollywood, and the major cities are New York City, where I reside,
okay,
LA, and now Atlanta. So is it important for content creators to go to any of those three cities that I just named, because that's where the money resides?
I'll say it depends on your game plan. I'll say definitely you gotta have a game plan. I know and knew a lot of people that went to those cities just to go. It's like, I'm just gonna follow my dream and go, but they really didn't have a plan, and things kind of fell through, especially in Atlanta, because the thing is, Atlanta is very, very saturated. Even business wise, with actors and actresses, so I'm like, if you're gonna go, you got to make sure that you have a plan. There's nothing wrong with doing that and picking up and going, but I'll say you definitely gotta have a plan. I know for me, I'm moving soon, not even really just for work, but just because I lived in Miami all my life. So I was like, we all want a fresh change. We want something new. So I know. Say it again.
Where are you moving to? Where are you going? I'm nosy.
I'm moving to Georgia. I don't know what part of Georgia yet. I don't know what part of Georgia, but I know we're going to Georgia. So yeah, and that'll be something new. And then too, me personally, I say I'm a country boy, trapped in the city boy's body, because I grew up around, you in Miami, everything's very busy here. So it's a busy city, a lot of tourism, a lot of so it's just good to get away sometimes, for you to just sit where some trees at. You can just sit and kind of wind down. So but no, I'll say definitely you just got to have a plan. And for the ones that are not in these major cities, you can still get involvement. You just have to get connected. Find someone in that city, find something in that city that can connect you to these events and to these castings and to these things. And even if you have to get in your car and drive some hours there, it's all part of the grind. That's what you got to do. So
I love it. So stay connected. How can my viewers and my listeners stay connected to you? What's your social media? Do you have a website? Tell us.
Right. So everybody, you can follow me on my social media at my full government name, Aaron Avant Johnson. And that's a whole long story, but I tell you my full
well, you see my name, right? So I don't ain't even married. So.
I know. Oh Lord. So yeah, you can follow me at my social media at Aaron Avon Johnson. You can follow Predestin at Predestin the series. You can also download the app from your app store, Predestin. Yeah, guys, just stay tuned. We have a lot of big things coming very, very soon. So I'm excited for it.
Got it. So as soon as we wrap this up, I'm gonna follow you on Instagram, and
I'm gonna follow you back.
Don't act like you don't know me, okay?
No, I'm not. Listen, listen. We going to the barbecue. We going to the cookout together. You know, I'll bring it.
Got no raisins in it. All right?
Listen, I'll bring some sodas. Probably do a little green beans on the side. I ain't getting on the grill. That ain't my ministry. But
you got the yak, or you want me to bring the yak?
You can bring it. You can bring it. I'll supply the cups. I'll bring the cups.
There you go. And we're gonna film that content, our summer barbecue.
Yes.
Listen. Aaron, thank you so much. This was a very delightful conversation. Let me just tell you a little backstory. Usually when I have guests on the show, like I research, I produce the show, I create all of these questions. But what I've learned, during this whole pandemic is to get out of my own way. And I just kind of felt your energy. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just have a conversation with him. And I'm glad that it worked out. This was amazing and delightful. Continue blessings, and don't forget to tell your mother thank you.
Yes, I will. Listen, I enjoyed this conversation. Truly. You are a joy. You are a light of sunshine.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I'll speak with you soon, Aaron. I'm going to follow you in the next.
I'm following you back. I got the phone right here waiting on you.
Take care, Aaron. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Alrighty.
Bye-bye. So there you have it. Another great Sanya on Air episode with our celebrity guest, Aaron Avon Johnson. Weren't you impressed by everything that he had to say? In his 20s, 20 years old to be exact, world-renowned writer, director, and producer. You can do it too. So if you need to listen to this conversation again, share it with someone, do so, because it is so important as content creators that we are being mindful, intentional, and purposeful about the content that we are bringing to the masses of people. I love that he is using his family. Well, not using his family. I like the word utilizing his family to kind of hone in and strengthen his brand. I think that is so important. Oftentimes we're looking for these major celebrities, or we're looking for people who we think can have more influence, instead of really looking and tapping into your own personal social network. In his case, he reached out to his immediate family. I love it. So, like I told you at the beginning of this show, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and also the notification button, so that every time I upload a new Sanya on Air celebrity interview, you already know. You already know. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you so much. Smooches, guys. Take care.